And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 4, episode number 40. So a little bit of a milestone here. 40 episodes on the season. It's been a great season, and we are in the best part of the season. So we're officially in conference tournament season. In fact, a week from today will be Selection Sunday, which is unbelievable. And one of the great leagues in Division III that has a great tournament unfolding is the NESCAC. And really excited to have Kevin App with me, the head men's basketball coach of the Williams Eafs. And Kevin, would you agree this is pretty much the greatest time of year? How are you doing? And talk a little bit about this time of year.
Yeah, it's the best time of year if you're still playing. Um, or you know, uh, tough time of year where another kind of journey, another group kind of comes to an end. But yeah, no, it's really fun. Um, to be following kind of not just your own team, but your friends and other teams you follow, and they're kind of stretch run, either wrapping up their regular season or heading into their tournament. So yeah, I think for anybody that's a fan of basketball, this is kind of mid February to late March is a special time.
I feel like you've got a lot of people around Division III that you're close with. You mentioned a couple of those when we were texting back and forth about doing this. A few of those have been on the QCast over time. Any particular programs or coaches that on a regular basis this time of year you're checking scores on?
Yeah, it's been it's one of the things when you get into coaching you don't realize is one of the uh, just parts that bring you a lot of kind of joy. And for me it's obviously definitely the four guys that have helped me out in our program here, where Mick Hedgepath at Barry,
Yeah.
Brian Emerson at Sewanee. I was just watching his quarterfinal game. Hope they can pull that out and get a rematch against Mick next weekend. And then Nick Giard at Kalamazoo, and then Steve Phillips and Justin Sosinski that were with me the last few years are now at Kenyon. So, obviously actively following them as they build their programs. And then you just the great people you meet, throughout, your time as you're each building programs in different areas. So, I feel like the nice part about this time of year is you got only, you know, uh, games on the weekends, or
Right.
the craziness of the kind of non-conference and different stretches of the season. I feel like I'm now coming out of my hibernation and realizing where people are at. So it's just a fun time to check in with people too and congratulate them on another. How hard everybody's working, so to kind of congratulate them, whether it's wrapping up or they have kind of continued success in their forecast. It's good to check in with all those
It is.
colleagues.
And fans are doing the same thing, right? With like days like today with the UAA games, and yesterday just this full slate of important games. It's a really fun time of year for fans and coaches and players and media members. Your team, Kevin, is sitting here at 20-5, 20-5 on the season. You went 9-1 in the NESCAC. Based on what you thought you had coming into the season relative to where you're at now, sitting here at 20-5, like how do you assess where your Eafs are at this point?
Yeah, I think when we when we wrapped up our regular season at 19-5, I texted one of our recent graduates. It's amazing to me how many crazy different ways you can get to 19-5. And I think coming into the year we had high aspirations. We knew we had a group that had been through a lot the last 2 years, plus added some underclassmen talent. In the NCAA tournament last year, we started, or we played basically everybody, no seniors, with Spencer Spivey, our senior last year, being out injured. So we knew we were returning a lot. And then, like every season, three of those guys you thought were probably going to be starting for you aren't practicing in October and November, and a couple more aren't playing for the first semester, and you're, trying to figure out the new group and pieces. And, it's been, it's kind of fun, journey as I've had in terms of the group just finding a way. I mean, um, 4 of our 5 home wins in the NESCAC were, I think, by an average of 1.6
Right.
points. Um, and that's just been this group. They really, uh, they knew what they wanted to kind of create out of the year, and they've made it happen. And so, yeah, I mean, we had high hopes. It hasn't, I've learned one thing in 9 seasons, and that's not to even think I know what's about to happen at the start of every season. So this is another reminder for that. And but I'm happy where we're at.
Yeah, you guys are having another great season. You're one of the real power programs in Division III from one of the real power conferences. Yesterday, you got the NESCAC tournament started off against Hamilton, and we were scheduling this several days ago. And I think you told me, like, if you lost that game, I was going to get a different demeanor, Kevin App. And so I was really rooting hard. When it was times were a little tough in that first half, they had a little lead early, and you guys battled back, took a lead. They were up 1 at the half. I thought in the second half, you guys did a really good job of doing what you were trying to do. You got up a little bit, you held on to that. You led. What I would say this, you controlled the second half, but it was never really comfortable until maybe the very end. Talk about that win over Hamilton, which ended up being 20 points. I think you'd agree that's a little misleading. That was a really tough game.
Yeah, and we knew. I think I said it after the game. I mean, Coach Stockwell does a phenomenal job. They won the NESCAC tournament last year, and so he's a great coach. And they have 3. Their top 3 scorers are, as talented as as they come at Division III. So we knew, if you took them lightly, they were going to be prepared. They're playing for their season to continue. We wanted to just try to kind of wear those 3 guys out. And I think at halftime, like you said, we were down a little bit. Last year in the quarterfinal, we were down, double digits. So we were at least
Right.
happy it wasn't that this year. But I thought our guys stuck with it and, kept competing on the defensive end and finding a way. But yeah, the 1-8 game in our league, like I said, Trinity, who is now 24-1 or whatever, they were the 8 seed we played last year, and
Right.
it's all the same guys this year. So it's not as easy as a game, and it's one you really, I think, can put more pressure on yourself because it's only that single game. And you are happy to be home, but you really want that experience and that opportunity to get to the semifinal. And so I was, appreciative of our guys that they didn't make it more than they had to be, and
Right.
found a way to get the win and get us some opportunities to compete next week.
And this now sets up a game against your rival, Amherst, right? They're the 6th seed. You're the 1 seed. They're the 6th. They beat Connecticut College in a game that I watched yesterday, which was really impressive performance by Amherst. I mean, they controlled that game, and College made a really nice run late, got it to like 2 or 3. Amherst hit a shot, and they just took control again. My takeaway from watching Amherst play, Kevin, was, boy, are they big, and boy, are they skilled. And so, I know that you've played them twice. You obviously know them really well. You guys split this year. This is the 3rd meeting. So, there's no surprises here. How do you look at this Amherst matchup as you go into it?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I've been the head coach 9 years. I think 6 of them we've played Amherst for a 3rd time.
Right.
There's been many years in our program we've played them a 4th time. So, yeah, it's what the playoffs are fun, where you're getting that 3rd crack at a team well. Sometimes it just comes down to kind of getting it done. But yeah, it's like you said, they're big, they're physical. They really make you work on the offensive end for good shots, and and then you got to do a great job rebounding against that size as well. So, but it's going to be a fun environment, a great environment. With 2 other good teams in our gym too, with Tufts and Trinity. So,
Right.
we always talk every time we play them. It's one of the reasons guys look forward to coming to Williams is to have that experience of having this long-standing historical rival and getting to play them at least twice every year, and the years you get to do it a third or even a fourth time, you relish that. It's probably the game every year that I get the most text messages from alumni, just saying, you know, that's a moment they miss, is playing,
Right.
Amherst in our gym, with a great crowd. And so, our guys will be excited about it. And, and then it's about going out and performing and, finding a way.
The other semifinal is Tufts versus Trinity of Connecticut. Both of those teams have had great seasons. Trinity Connecticut has just been rolling along the entire season. I was watching the game when you guys got them at your place, and that was an incredible game and a great comeback by you guys and a huge win. Tufts has been really good. They've got some huge wins. They won at Keene State. That was the game I watched. I was really impressed. They've lost a few along the way, but when you look at that top four, Kevin, in the NESCAC semis here, Williams, Amherst, Tufts, and Trinity, I mean, those are four teams that probably feel like if they got the right opportunity, they could make a big push for a deep run in the tournament. Talk a little bit, if you would, about the league and how good your league is year in and year out.
Yeah, I think like every league, we know how hard it is when you know each other really well. When you have great coaches, great young men that work really hard at what they do. I think Trinity is a great example. They were the 8th seed in the league last year. I think they were 4-6, and now they're, like I said, playing at just such a high level. Just guys in the right roles, guys embracing the role, playing really hard. Tough, same thing. They, have a lot of balance in terms of, guards and posts and size. And then you mentioned the size of an Amherst team. And,
right.
Con, that you said lost to Amherst, same thing. They had this phenomenal year. Coach Sweeney's done just a terrific job of building that program in a really, really quick period of time and playing this, great zone defense and same thing, a well-balanced offensive team. So, we know, and, last year was Colby and Hamilton. And so I think that's, where we feel it's a strong league, that you're always tested. And sometimes it just comes down to, do you win the close games that year? And, we've been on the fortunate side of some of those. And, I don't know if anything we've done better than everybody else. It's just something was on our side that night. So, but that's what makes it fun, and our guys enjoy it. And I know to do it at home too, to host the semis for the second straight year, I know our guys take a lot of pride in that. And I know my wife's happy about it too.
I'll bet she is. Talking a little bit about the region that you play in, region 1, which is a really tough league to get regionally ranked in, obviously, because there's so much depth to it. Trinity, Connecticut is the number 1 team in region 1 currently. So Trinity, Tufts, Williams, Conn College, St. Joe, Connecticut, Albertus Magnus, and Morrisville. That was the last ranking, the first one that we got in order. Do you look at the regional ranking stuff and try to figure out this time of year going into these games, like what it would have meant if you had lost to Hamilton yesterday? Or do you just say all we can control is the games we play? Like, some coaches are different here. How much do you look at that stuff and the resumes and everything?
I'd like to say not. Well, I mean, the simple fact is, the more you win, the better shape you are. And, I think every game we all go into as coaches and teams and competitors, you're trying to win. But, to say I don't every now and then this time of year look at Drew's website and hope those percentages go up next to your name, I'd be lying. I think it was maybe last year. I was like, how are we not at 100 yet? Why are we at 98 still? Can you just put us at 100? Because those 2% will keep me up at night. So no, I think, I've learned to look at it more of just like, every week you get to, winning our game on Saturday meant we get this great week of practice to prepare for, this great moment,
Right.
to play in the semifinals. So I've learned to look at it or put more kind of angst on myself as every win this time of year just means, another fun memory for the team. And, that's where kind of the pressure I've started to put on myself is
Sure.
creating those continued moments and memories for the guys.
Talking about the guys, when I watch you guys play, and I've watched you several times in the last couple weeks, I guess the word balanced is what comes to mind. You remind me a lot of my alma mater, because we have a team where the leading scorers are between like 11 and 10 points, and there's a bunch of them, and you really can't pick anyone out to say they're the best player. There's just a bunch of good players, and when I watch you guys, Alex Lee is averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Brandon Ruffley is 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Nate Karen, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And Cole Prowett Smith, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. I always feel like those are the hardest kind of teams to prepare for, because there's not like we're gonna take this guy away and make everyone else beat us. Talk a little bit about that balance, Kevin, that you guys have this year.
Yeah, it's kind of how we've tried to shape the roster and how we try to play stylistically. And this year we've needed it, I think, more than ever. I mean, early in the season, Alex Lee really kind of carried us. And then, as Nate Karen got healthy, he started to kind of, find his footing again. Has really kind of been our kind of fulcrum in, NESCAC play. And then Cole and Brandon are just, guys where when they're playing, you kind of know what you're going to get, which is comforting as a coach in terms of, stats and how they're playing. And that, but again, that's kind of how we have Brandon in the post that we can go to. We have Nate as a, kind of a skilled 6'8" guy that leads us in 3-point shooting and assist. And, we got a couple of dynamic scoring guards, and then a lot of other guys that have, found their niche and ways to impact the game. And, it's really been a really rewarding, fun season in that, like I said, a lot of the roles we thought guys were going to be in have shifted and changed a lot over the year. Declan Porter was, on pace to, probably be the all-time 3-point shooter in Williams history, and had started every game in his career and has played 10 minutes the entire season, which has opened up a lot of opportunities for, Sammy Cooley and Noah Dinkins and guys to make an impact. And, it's been a great, I think, reminder for me too, is there's so many different ways to win in the game of basketball.
Right.
That's why I think we all love it. And, probably some of the mistakes I've made in recent years has been, trying to always be about one thing instead of just the group figuring out what best for that group. I think we've kind of shape shifted throughout this year and just found some ways to win games as we kind of found our identity in the last, 3 weeks or so, or month. I think that's, taken shape in terms of roles and, where to put guys in position when we need to, how to take advantage of matchups. So it's been a really fun and rewarding year. And, but yeah, that balance is, what we try to kind of hang our hat on and get guys to kind of buy into. And I think whether you're a star or a role player, that helps because you don't have to, the star player doesn't feel like they have to score 25 points for us to be successful. And the role player can see their impact as well. So I think it helps with the psychology a little bit too.
As a team, it seems like what you guys hang your hat on is the defensive side. I think the thing that you guys do really well consistently is you're hard to score against. You're holding opponents to 38% from the field and 60 points a game. And so, the offense can kind of come and go a little bit, but when you're defending like that, it gives you a chance, even in a game where you're not shooting it that well. Talk a little bit about kind of the defensive mentality that your team has taken up, Kevin.
Yeah, as I said, last spring when our season ended, the guys, were very reflective and honest with how they were feeling. And, I think we were one of the top offensive efficient teams in the country last year. Going into the NCAA tournament, we led the country in 3-point shooting percentage on
Right.
offense. And when we were great last year, we were really, really, good. With like our last 3 regular season games, at Trinity, at Wesleyan, at Conf, we played at a really, really high level. But our guys really felt when things weren't going great on the offensive end, we didn't really, embrace that kind of game and experience. So they really wanted to kind of be about that this year. Like, no matter how the game's going, we're going to compete. We're going to, figure out a way, whether we
Sure.
won by 1 or 30, who cares? And they've really done that. Like I said, last year we were first in offensive 3-point percentage. This year we're first in defensive 3-point percentage right now, nationally. And, that's really a credit to the guys, just kind of, like I said, embracing that mindset. And, we've had, like I said, a bunch of close wins. We've, come back from 20. We've come back
Right.
from down 5 in 3 minutes. We've come back, we were down 7 to Trinity with 1:10 left. And, I don't know if they didn't kind of talk about fostering that mindset, that would have necessarily happened.
Right.
But, we got some other things that work in our favor, some positional size, some,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been a unique journey on that front. I have 2 new assistants, and they're like, "What do you like?" I thought they were told from previous assistants that I was just, I coach offense, and that's what we're about here, and different things. And they're like, "What? Our defensive numbers are pretty good." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." So I think it's more the guys than me.
I want to ask you about your California trip. I was watching the Redlands game, and that was at UC Santa Cruz, I believe. And I was watching it very interested because I had just been in California with Illinois Wesleyan, watching Illinois Wesleyan play Redlands and Cal Lutheran, and we also went 0-2 out there. Redlands is that's a unique game. Like your game versus them was almost a carbon copy of our game with them. It's like we're set up a lot like you. And boy, do they, once they get things going downhill in what they do and that trap and their athleticism, they present a lot of challenges. And they've had a strange season because they haven't had a great SCIAC season. But talk about what it was like facing Redlands and kind of how that game went.
Yeah, I mean, the trip to California, I said we had a phenomenal trip. It's why we go on those. Got around a lot of families and alumni, and outside of the 2 games and the
Yeah.
weather, we were there during the whole like California surge, so all the beaches in Santa Cruz were closed, and I think it rained 2 of our 4 days there. So besides the weather and the winds, it was a phenomenal trip. But no, I mean, so how that trip came to be is I know Coach Malone really well at Santa Cruz. He did a phenomenal job as the assistant at Tufts, and got to know him through just being out on the road. And by the 3rd tournament or the 3rd summer, we were sitting at the same tournaments. It was like, hey, you want to just get dinner and hang out? And so I've known him and been excited to watch him build a program as a head coach. And we had a couple Bay Area guys on our team, so I asked him if it presented itself, could we come out? And he was like, all right, well, just let me know which year you want to come out. We were supposed to do it last year. We got asked to kind of bump it to this year. And he was like, I don't know who else you're going to play, but like, I was like, well, we're coming. So, and we'd prefer 2 games. And then he called and said, talk to Coach Bridgeland. He's coming up. So I was like, well, thanks. Nothing like playing Coach Bridgeland style after 2.5 weeks off and
Right.
traveling across the country and hoping your team shows up on the 26th. So, but no, we were fortunate enough to play, his great Whitman team,
Yeah.
in the Sweet 16 in 20, whatever year that was, 18 or 19, I guess. But he's, because he's a really good coach, doing things differently even than that team was doing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, they're just really hard to prepare for in a short period of time.
Right.
Um, and just challenge you mentally and physically. And I think, you know, uh, it's funny. We go back to that game a lot. We talked about it when we played Con. Very different. Con's a 2-3 zone, low
Right.
possession game, but that tests you mentally. And if you make a sound decision on one play, you can't let up mentally the next
Right.
play against the zone. So we've come back to that Redlands game a lot, and it was a great environment in Santa Cruz's on-campus gym.
Right.
Redlands had a bunch of fans. We had a bunch of alumni and family. Um, and yeah, I knew it was going to be a hard one when it showed up on the schedule, and so we yeah, didn't quite, and then went against a great defensive team in Santa Cruz the next day, and
Right.
had nothing left to make a shot against Matt. So
Yeah, those are tough trips. I know from seeing one up close, like, they are, they're not excuses. It's, you still lace them up, and, but you travel across the country, you play good teams, these games can go either way. And, but yeah, I found the Redlands game fascinating because I had just seen them in person, and I know how difficult, and I also saw them at the Great Lakes Invitational, where they looked awesome at that thing. So yeah, I had to ask you about that one. I also wanted to ask you, just as we kind of start to wrap up, just a little bit about your background. And I know that you graduated, you went to Cornell, correct? You played for Cornell.
yeah,
Degree in civil engineering. I don't think you went right into coaching after graduation, right? Didn't you go have like a real job in
yeah,
quotes? Weren't you an engineer for a little while before you got the coaching bug and went that direction?
yeah. So I grew up in the Washington D.C. area, and played at a good high school, and loved basketball, and kind of had that decision to make that a lot of the guys I'm recruiting now are making, where do you do academics? Do you do basketball? Do you
Right.
try to find a place you can do both? And I kind of decided I would try to go to the best civil engineering school I could get into. That's what I was
Sure.
the path I was on then. And Cornell was that for me, and the right size, the right type of environment that I was looking for. It was just completely good timing on my part that this little guard that was hanging around, that they knew a little bit because of the high school I came from. They had a few guards leave the team, and on Halloween they called me up saying that they needed another body. Would I want to come to practice? And then 4 years later they couldn't get rid of me, and 18 months after that I was asking Coach Donahue to help me find a job in coaching. So but yeah, I used my degree for a year back in Washington D.C. working for a large construction company, and um, got started asking about maybe looking to get a grad assistant position, and was actually going to go back to Cornell, just kind of use any money I'd saved up as an
Sure.
engineer, and get a foot in the door at Cornell. And that was the plan. And then Coach Donahue called me up and said, hey, my longtime friend and colleague in the Ivy League just got this job at a great school in Western Mass. Like, it's a great D3 program, Williams College. It's kind of late in the process. He's looking for someone that's kind of young and hungry. They don't pay a lot. I gave him your name. He's going to call you tomorrow. And that was Coach Maker, and
Wow.
it worked out.
And so playing for or coaching with under Mike Maker, yeah, I'm sure you learned just so much. It's probably a loaded question, but what was that experience like, kind of learning from him?
It was unbelievable. Just everything. And, I think not just learning from him, but being with him when he took over a program. And, I was, working alongside Pat Doherty, who's doing a phenomenal job at Haverford College. So just really thrust into it. And, early in your career, you don't realize the type of people
Sure.
you're around. And then you look back and realize how lucky you've been. And, but no, Coach was just all the thought he put into how he wanted to teach, how he wanted to, lead, how he wanted to kind of grow a culture, and to be there from day one where he got here. And, I was with him. We met the team in the airport in Boston and flew over to Italy and got to spend, a week and a half with this new team. And, he and I are spending, 18 hours a day together on that trip, going over every decision he wanted to make, what he wanted to do. So that was just a crash course in, kind of building a program. And then, it's been 9 years for me, and I have not felt one of my practices was the educational experience that Coach Makers was. It was literally like being in philosophy or psychology class.
Wow.
And that's how it felt as an assistant, and I'm sure to the players. So, I'm getting there, but so it was just, just so fun. And, why I stayed with it, because that was, probably the, most influential year of my, kind of life in terms of just the relationship side, the teaching side, the competitive side. And, and quite frankly, a major reason, I got hired,
Right.
was him, and, that relationship with him.
I just had to ask you about Coach Maker, because that's such a cool tie that you have. And just a couple more things as we start to wrap up, but talk a little bit, Kevin, if you would, about like what the NCAA tournament's like as a coach and as a team. It's such a, I don't know, emotional thing, right? There's so many highs and lows to what's about to happen here in the next few weeks. Like that, when I met you in person, it was at Illinois Wesleyan. You guys were there playing Wabash, and you guys didn't do too good against Wabash, and neither did we, right? So that was a tough weekend for both of us. And it's just kind of an example of like the highs and lows. You like, our guys beat Wheaton in that game, and then the next night you're at home and you lose this Elite Eight game, where if you win, you're going to the Final Four. Like, talk about the highs and lows of the NCAA tournament, and why, I guess, why it's so great.
Yeah, it's hard to really put into words unless you've kind of experienced it and lived it. And I would say, from the coaching side, and I think the players feel too, you honestly don't, you're really just immersed in it. And I think, that's the weirdest part, is like, it just ends.
Right.
And, I remember talking to Dale Wellman when Nebraska Wesleyan won it. And I was like, just, congrats. And how was that? And he had the same feeling as the winner. It was just, like 3 hours later, it's like, wait, I want to keep doing this. And it's just kind of over. And you don't really, they knew it was going to be over that day, but for everybody else, my wife was the assistant swim coach at Williams for 4 years. And we always, that's what she always talks about, is like, going into something not knowing when it's going to end is just such a different experience.
Right.
But what makes it, so fun and, special. And I think all of us that, have gotten to be a part of it, why you want to get back. One, it gets you more time together as a group. But yeah, we, 2018, we won the NESCAC
Right.
on Sunday. Get to host, and the next Saturday we lose at home in the second round of the NCAA, I think for the first time ever in our home gym. And it's like, what, just the extreme high.
Yeah.
1 week you're a champion, 1 week you feel like, let everybody down, or, your season's over. So, but, I think ultimately that fades, and you realize just how special those seasons where you get to experience that are. So.
And last question, I don't want to let you go without asking about Williams itself. It's obviously known around the world as one of the best institutions in the country, in the world. It's an elite academic institution. Just talk a little bit, Kevin, about what makes Williams College so special.
Yeah, I think everyone, well, if you look up Williams, you're going to see it's the number one liberal arts college in the world. And that is, really, I think the foot in the door, kind of
Sure.
like I talked about, that's what, the initial thing kind of, recruits and families, piques their interest. It's one of the ways we're able to recruit, nationally. Um, but I think what people that come to Williams come to realize is that is the, least amount of kind of who we are and what this community is. And, it is a place you have to be and live and immerse yourself in to really kind of, I think, reap the benefits, because we are a small town, we are a small community, but with that comes, kind of lifelong relationships, lifelong memories, shared experiences that, I don't think you get everywhere. I tell the guys all the time, I was on the Cornell basketball team for 4 years, probably because I wasn't that good of a player and I was a walk-on. I don't think anybody in my class even knew I was on the basketball team until, I was on the featured as a captain of the team. Whereas here by the third week, we have a 6'11" freshman, Tyler Van Gorp, that, by the third week in town, everybody knew who he was. And, is coming up and talking to him and
Sure.
asking him about the team. So, there's that experience and the relationships you get with everybody from, the staff workers to the local businesses, to the fans, to the, young people in town, to your professors. I think it's really what makes Williams what it is. And it's why alumni love coming back here. It's why we have such, strong support. And, on the athletic side, I think that's why our teams have had success, in our department. There's probably a lot of misconceptions out there about how our athletic department is, but we are a people first operation, and that's, but I think that if you get the right people here,
Sure.
they can thrive because they, spend a lot of time together. They, kind of grow into that kind of oneness of a community and a team and a group. So, it's a special place to be a part of, and left, imprint on me and my, wife when we were assistants here. And, to get the opportunity to come back here 10 years ago, one's crazy to say, and two is something we know, how lucky we are.
Well, I appreciate you making all this time during this particular time of year. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on, both at work and family stuff. Appreciate you carving this out. You guys are 20-5, and you've got a big game against Amherst in the semis. And remind me the setup. The semis? Are those both Saturday?
Yeah, so we'll play Amherst at 2, and then Trinity will play Tufts at 4:30, and then the two winners will play Sunday at noon.
That's right. So you're a Saturday,
Wake up and
Sunday.
play.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
intense, right? As we talked about, Selection Sunday is a week from today, and there's many leagues that are playing their championship game on Sunday. So if you're watching like the bracketology stuff that I love to do, and there are so many implications across the country as you're watching these Saturday games and then the Sunday games. It's amazing how much, like, down to the final, whatever the final game is, how much stuff moves. So that's fun stuff. It's a great time of year. Want to give you, Kevin, the kind of the last word here on the QCast. So I'm sure Ephs Nation will tune in and check this out, and obviously Division III Nation will tune in, and hopefully many others. But what would you leave everyone with here on the QCast today?
Yeah, one, thank you for having me. It's been, I think all of us as coaches appreciate the, just the following and the conversation around these great student athletes in our schools. Whether we always agree with every opinion is for debate later, but no, we appreciate it. And, it's amazing how many friends and families, and once they realize the resource that is, d3hoops.com, and how you can, easily, really just click on most games and watch them.
Absolutely.
And it's, high level competitive basketball with great moments. I mean, every year, like I said, we were fortunate to be a part of one on the right side with our Trinity game. It seems to be multiple ones of those every week on the men's and women's side. So, enjoy this time of year, click on them and watch them. And I think you'll be impressed with the level of, spirit and competition.
Well, again, I appreciate it. And you guys are playing really, really well right now. Good luck to you against Amherst, and look forward to watching that NESCAC tourney. That's going to be fun stuff next Saturday, Sunday. Folks, that's Kevin App. He's the head men's basketball coach of the Williams College Eafs. And again, they have a big ball game against their rival Saturday. Thanks so much, Kevin. I appreciate it. I hope to see you in some D3 gym somewhere before this season ends, my friend. Thank you so much.
You just want to send out to Illinois again. I know.
I would like you to get sent. I don't think we're going to host any games, but if you get sent our way, that means things went really well for us.
That's my one. That would have been such a, pretty, we wanted to play. It would have been a pretty historical D3 game if we would have been.
It really would have been. I was excited about the thought that really Williams and Illinois Wesleyan. That would have been a special one, right?
To go to another Final Four for one of us would have been pretty cool. But unfortunately, we ran into the buzzsaw that was that special Wabash team. Man, were that was unfortunately rough. Fun to watch. Not so fun to play against for 40 minutes.
Not at all. Jack Davidson. I don't want to see that guy again. Let me tell you. Kevin, thank you so much, and hope to see you real soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.